Mohit got me introduced to this book, Diana by Diana Banaras, and we started reading it. And when I say we, it's me and my husband who's sitting there and capturing my videos to show it to my kids. But yeah, we just started reading it, and Banaras, got onto us in terms of our chai point discussions. We started discussing about Banaras, and we didn't realize, actually, Banaras started growing on us. And I can relate so much to what Mohit said, that when you desire for something, probably puri kainat jud jati hai uske saath mein aapki wo, ichha puri karne mein. And that's exactly what happened to me and Anand. That's how I started with Banaras. And recently, I was able to do this trip to Banaras. We just happened to do this trip to Banaras. Now, Banaras, as I said, started slowly growing on us, and the way Diana has explained Banaras, if I take a step back in terms of how she has, put Banaras in, introduced it to the reader. I love these beautiful lines that she has put in the book. There is very little in the world to compare with the splendor of Banaras seen from the river at dawn. This line is so true, and for me, that dawn happened on the last day of my trip to Banaras by a sea ghat. Subh Banaras is what I was experiencing, that day. I never realized that, that would be the day when Banaras would really, get on to me. The rays of the sun, if I have to visualize, and she really, and the pictures that you see over here, these are pictures taken by me, my kids, on the day when we experienced Banaras by a sea ghat. And she beautifully calls out that, Banaras, the rays falling on, spreading across the river, slowly touching the high bank face of the city, moving slightly up, touching upon the shrines, the religious sites, the temples, everything comes to life. And that is where probably you feel this is life at Banaras, the golden hour over there. And slowly goes on with the narrow lanes of the Banaras, bringing them to life. And that is probably start of the day for Banaras. And you have on one side, that is probably where you realize that this is the samsara. And she introduces you to that this is the actual samsara. But when you look at it from the perspective of the river flowing by, it's actually, it's actually the liberation, the moksha. So that was the day, for me, when I probably, changed the perspective around Banaras, and Banaras for me became a saga of life and death. A saga of life and death, or samsara and moksha, if I would put it like that. And the same thing happened, which I saw over there. One side you have Manikarnika Ghat, which is like, which just shows you that this is ultimately where the circle of life is going to take you. And the other place, you have this Kashi Vishwanath temple. That is it, all happening, happiness. And this is life, you basically come over there, at that point in time. So she beautifully weaved this across this, and the way she has kind of, spun it across, weaved it, starting from the introduction, slowly, introducing Banaras from this perspective, slowly moving into the geographical aspects of Banaras, the Indo-Gangetic plains, touching upon the history of Banaras, the time of Guptas and the Mauryas flourishing, how it flourished, the study, and then slowly the decline during the Mughal times, and then Rani Ahalya Bai, coming of Rani Ahalya Bai, and bringing life back to Banaras, reconstructing many portions of Banaras. Now, with all this, Diana doesn't miss upon touching the urban Banaras part of it, because whenever we think of, I think Banaras probably for us appears from those high banks, those ghats, which are spread across Adi Keshava Ghat to the Asi Ghat, almost 80 ghats, spun across 3 miles of the river. But she definitely, doesn't lose upon touching upon the urban Banaras, which is kind of, struggling with, I would say, a typical urban city would be like, pollution. And I faced it, personally over there. When I was there in part of the urban Banaras, you get to hear a lot of noise pollution. Honking is something which is like, after that, when we landed back in Bangalore, it was like, wow, Bangalore is so silent. I would have never imagined that. That is how it was, in Banaras. But yeah, that is a different perspective. So she doesn't miss upon touching upon the urban part of it, the part which has a lot of challenges, as living as part of it, and also which is impacting in some manner the cultural heritage of Banaras, and how to kind of safeguard and how to kind of keep it pretty close. I think the chapter that I really liked a lot in this book, which I kept coming time and again, I kept coming back to it, is the city of Shiva. The Lord of Kashi. I just love that chapter, and there are quite a lot of small stories that she has woven across it. One of the stories within this chapter is, how did Lord Shiva, the mountain god living in the mountains, choose upon Banaras or Varanasi, as we call it, or Kashi, multiple names, as he said, too many names. He should be talking about it. But yeah, how did Lord Shiva choose upon Banaras or Varanasi from his vantage point, living in the higher, greater Himalayas? Just because of this city, the beauty of the city, the palaces of the city, the gardens of the city, and that is why the name Anandvana is there, of Banaras. She also talks about one of the stories that Lord Shiva did not just like that choose upon this city. There was a reason behind it, and this is the second myth around it, where he sent one of his Lord of Ganeshas basically to the city. There was a king over there, Devodasya, as far as I recall, Devodasa, and he asked the Lord of Ganas to vacate the city so that it becomes ready for Lord Shiva and Parvati to be starting their marital life, their family life, because Lord Shiva being away from culture and away from the real worldly pleasures of life. And what Nikumba did, who was the Lord of Ganas, he appeared in a barber's dream and asked him that establish a temple for me at the edge of the city ke kinare pe mere liye ek mandir banao. And this barber was so much carried away with it that he established a small temple at the edge of the city. And the mahakta of this temple increased a lot. People would walk in and they would kind of pray and get all their blessings from the temple. With this, the queen of Devodasa, who was childless, she started praying and she started coming over there. But uski manokamna puri nahi hui. She didn't get that boon per se, from the god. And Devodasa got really angry with that, and he just came and he completely demolished the temple. And that was the time when Nikumba, he cursed the city, stating that city will be empty, puri khali ho jayegi, nobody would be here. And that was the time when Lord Shiva came to the city. And initially it is said that Parvati did not like the city, but Lord Shiva told her that this is my home, I love this home, and it is never to be forsaken. That because of that, the name Avimukt, Lord is never going to leave the city, and that is the mahima of Banaras. I mean, usually the places that we see, whether it is Badrinath, Kedarnath, it's always the temples that get set up over there, right? But here, the city has always been there, but Lord Shiva came over there. So I'm not going to take much time. For me, my connect with Banaras started from the last day in the city by the ghats of Asighat. And what keeps me connected with Banaras, I just want to touch upon this. Kashi ke Kankan mein Shiv hai. She touches upon this, that there are almost 1,000 temples, more than 1,000 Lord Shiva temples. And if you have to, really think of the relation of Lord Shiva with, Banaras, it's like Kashi ke har patthar mein Shiv hai. It's like that. And I'll just close with that. This is something that just keeps me connected with Banaras. I cannot sing this. My daughter is a classical singer, but not me. I'll just read this. Bhini bhini bhor aayi, roop roop par chidke sona, swam kalash chamkati aayi, bhini bhor aayi, maathe sunehri tika lagaye, paat paat par gota lagaye, saat rang ki jai aayi, bhini bhor aayi. This is exactly, if I have to sum it up, this is exactly Banaras. So thanks a lot for having me here.